This video is the closest I'll probably ever come to cautioning anyone against starting homesteading. We moved out here to our homestead 3 years ago in a few months, and we have loved it. But it's not been without challenges, and making social connections has been one of the biggest challenges. Now, I shot some footage a little over a year ago. Actually, I think it was a year and a half ago. And I talked about some of these things you should think about before you start homesteading. So I'm gonna feature that footage right here, right now. What prompted this is the challenge that we had in making connections out here and the difficulty that we don't really often feature on our channel, but I think it's important, so I'm gonna throw it out here. When you're looking at buying a piece of property to start homesteading, a lot of people talk about the attributes of the land. They say your land needs to have water, you need to think about what you want to do on your land, how much pasture do you need, what other resources are there, what about your neighborhood, what about your neighbors, what about the structures on the property. I believe the first step, the very first step, and this might sound a little cheesy, but I really believe this with all my heart. The first step is to actually look at yourself. The reason I say this is because as humans, sometimes we come up with these romantic ideas about what we want to do. And sometimes our romantic ideas, the thing that we kind of pin our hopes on, sometimes we have the wrong ideas about what it will actually be like. A lot of people in the comments of our channel say they want to start homesteading. In fact, we did a survey a little while ago on the community section of our YouTube channel, and the majority of people are actually people who say they're not homesteading, but they hope to homestead one day. And I think that's awesome. I'm so glad that that group of people are watching our channel. If that's you, I will not discourage you from buying land, starting homesteading, and pursuing that dream. In fact, I hope to encourage everyone to do that every day in our videos. The reason I say that you need to look inside yourself, however, is because I think that you can get very deeply disappointed if you just run straight after a dream without looking at yourself. So the first step is to look at yourself, to understand yourself, and know what you really want. I'm going to talk about a couple aspects of this. The first aspect is community. How important is community to you in relation to, or in comparison to, your dream of having a bunch of acres? When we're talking about picking a property, a lot of times to fit our finances, we actually have to move somewhere, maybe to another state. You know, we thought about moving to Idaho at one point, actually. But in the end, we didn't move that far, but we did make a big leap. We moved an hour away, well, more than an hour away from many of our friends and family. We don't regret that decision at all. But I won't say that it's been easy all the time either. And we looked long and hard at whether we wanted to do this. It was a big decision. When we started our property search, we actually said one of our top criteria was being within 30 minutes of our hometown. And then after looking for property for a long time, we decided that actually wasn't feasible, and we decided that we wanted this lifestyle enough that we were gonna move out. I'm not gonna tell you that you shouldn't move to another state, or that you shouldn't move outside of a town where you're gonna have to establish a new community. But I think it's very, very important to look at how important is community to you. I would actually caution anyone who has a very strong, close-knit community, maybe a church community, maybe a supportive family community. I would caution you against jumping and moving away from that community. Having a close community is invaluable. And it can be very stressful and hard to rebuild a social community and a social network. I'm not saying that it's not possible. In fact, when you look at the pioneers in the history of this country, the United States, they left behind everything for a dream. I have ancestors who moved to the West Coast, went out the Oregon Trail, and they left everything behind for a dream of having their own space, freedom, their own land, and they found it in the end, but through much hardship. So when you're deciding if you want to homestead, and more specifically, if you want to make a geographic move to homestead, take the time to sit down and look at your life. Look at what makes your life healthy right now. Look at what makes you happy in your life right now. Because if you're in a close community, and if that's one of the main things that feeds you, then maybe you need to look for a smaller property and still pursue your dream of homesteading, but do it in proximity to that community. It's kind of like deciding to milk a cow or have a cow for milk. That's a huge decision. It has a big impact on your life. And sometimes we think we understand how hard something's gonna be because we've processed it, but we've not actually really realized this is gonna be a challenging experience. I don't think this is a matter of character. It's not, are you tough enough to move out to the wilderness? Are you tough enough to milk a cow every day and never go on vacation? It's a matter of what you, specifically you, really want and what you really value. So this video, if nothing else, it's just an encouragement to take a holistic look at your life. The things that are making you healthy now, the things that you really want to be different, and then prioritize all these things and put that item on that list of priority. So what are some questions to ask yourself when you're doing this deep dive? How good are you at making social connections? Are you the kind of person who's just gonna drop into a new community and thrive? How good is your spouse at making social connections? That's really important. What do you really enjoy doing every day? And what do you really want to do in homesteading? What is it in homesteading that really draws you? Because it may be that the lifestyle that you're dreaming of, you could do perfectly well on a much smaller property than you're imagining. I don't know. I'm not telling you the answers. I'm asking the questions. Would moving to the country force you to commute a significant distance? And would that bother you? You know, don't think about would it bother you this week. Would it bother you doing that for several years until you possibly made a transition to another job? Are you leaving behind a really close church community or other type of community that you're really gonna miss or not be able to leave behind? And then you end up kind of split if you end up driving back for all types of things? These are just some questions. Okay, that's it. Leaving you with questions. Should you move to another state? Should you move out to the country? Or can you do the homesteading activities you want to do on a smaller piece of property near to a community that's really important to you? The reason why I made this video is because I just want to put a small, gentle challenge out there to the idea that you have to leave behind everything in order to homestead. Not that everyone is under this delusion, and not that everyone shouldn't move to another state. I think it's amazing when people do and they make that decision. But I just want you to remember and go through this process to say what is really important to me. Thank you so much for listening. This is a little different style of a video than our normal videos, but I thought it was really important, so I put it up. This has been another great day on the homestead, and we'll see you in an upcoming video quite soon. Goodbye.